For centuries, coal was king in the UK. It powered a nation, but it also left behind a pretty dirty legacy. Well, today, we're looking at an absolutely incredible transformation. How the ghosts of Britain's industrial past, its abandoned coal mines, are becoming this surprising new source of clean, green energy for the future. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if we could take something that was a huge part of the climate crisis and actually turn it into a solution? What if coal's most lasting impact, when all is said and done, wasn't the pollution, but clean power? That's the huge question we're unpacking today. So to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand the sheer scale of the change we're talking about. In the UK, coal's time is, well, it's over. Production has just collapsed by a staggering 94% in only 10 years. The mines are closed, but they left something truly massive behind. So what actually happens when a giant mine, a mine that used to power an entire city, just goes silent? Well, it doesn't just sit there empty. It starts this really surprising, watery second life. It's actually a pretty simple process when you think about it. For decades, these massive pumps were running 24/7 just to keep these huge underground networks dry. The second a mine was abandoned and those pumps were switched off, nature just took over. Groundwater started seeping back in, filling up all those tunnels and shafts, and creating these enormous, hidden reservoirs. And we're not talking about a couple of small mines here. We're talking about a gigantic underground labyrinth. Over 30,000 of them, crisscrossing the UK. For the longest time, these flooded voids have been seen as, an environmental problem, something to be monitored and managed. But what if they're not a problem at all? What if they're actually a massive asset? And this, right here, is where the whole story pivots. We go from an industrial relic to a clean energy future. Because that water, just sitting there deep underground, it's not just sitting there, it's also warm. So the official term for this is mine water geothermal. And it's a brilliant idea. The water that's sitting in all that old mining infrastructure is being naturally heated geothermally by the rock deep inside the earth. It's basically like a giant natural storage heater. Now, what's really interesting here is the temperature. We're not talking about boiling hot volcanic geysers or anything like that. The water's only about 20 degrees Celsius, so around 68 Fahrenheit. It's lukewarm, but, and this is the crucial part, it's a constant, stable, and absolutely enormous source of low-grade heat, just waiting there to be tapped. Okay, so the big question is, how on earth do you take lukewarm water and use it to heat a building? Well, the beauty of this whole system is that all the technology to do it already exists. We're just putting familiar pieces together in a new, really clever way. Okay, let's just walk through the loop. It's super simple. First, you pump that 20-degree water up to the surface. Next, it goes through a heat exchanger, which, as the name suggests, pulls the warmth out of it. After that, a heat pump, and that's technology a lot of us are hearing about now. It boosts that low-grade warmth up to a temperature that's hot enough for radiators and buildings. And then finally, the now slightly cooler water gets sent right back down into the mine to warm up all over again. It's just a simple, elegant, continuous cycle. And listen, this is not just some theory on a whiteboard. It's happening right now. Let's take a look at a company that's already doing this, Lanchester Wines, over in the industrial northeast of England. For Lanchester Wines, this isn't some side project or a little gimmick for their marketing. No, they have woven this technology right into the fabric of their business strategy. It's become a core part of their company's identity. So why'd they do it? Well, they had this huge practical problem. They needed to heat a 1 million square foot warehouse. They also had this big strategic goal to be carbon neutral, which gives them a real competitive edge. And the best part? The solution was literally right under their feet, just 80 meters down. But, being a pioneer is never a walk in the park. The opportunity was this massive, basically free source of heat. The challenge, though, something called ochre. It's a contaminant in the mine water that just constantly clogs up the pipes. They're still working on perfecting the filtration technology, which just goes to show you that real innovation means you've got to overcome some serious real-world hurdles. So, how do you take this from one warehouse to a national solution? I mean, the story of Lanchester Wines is amazing, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg. The potential for the entire UK is, it's enormous. And hey, this isn't just a UK thing. Other countries with a big mining history are exploring it too. The Netherlands, for instance, they're a real leader in this space. They use their old mine water not just for heating, but for cooling homes and businesses too. And this is so important. The benefits here go way beyond just clean energy. This is about creating green jobs and bringing economic life back to the very communities that were built on coal in the first place. It's a way of honoring that history while building a totally new, sustainable future. Okay, just think about this number for a second, because it's pretty mind-blowing. 1 out of every 4 homes in the entire UK is sitting directly on top of a former coal field. The heat source isn't in some remote, faraway place. It is literally under millions of people's houses. And if that wasn't enough, get this, 9 out of 10 of the UK's biggest cities are in these former mining areas. This makes mine water geothermal a uniquely powerful solution for heating our cities, right where the need for clean energy is most concentrated. The resource is right there where the people are. All right, so let's boil this all down. What are the big takeaways? First, this is just a masterclass in turning a polluting legacy into a clean energy asset. Second, the tech isn't science fiction. It's just a clever new way to use stuff we already have. And finally, and this is the most staggering part, a vast untapped heat battery is sitting right beneath millions of our homes and businesses. It leaves us with a really powerful final thought. For so long, we've looked at these old mines as scars on the landscape, right? Reminders of a time that's gone. But maybe we're not done with them just yet. They could be the very foundation of what comes next.